Nike didn't just release a commercial. They made a statement. Caitlin Clark is no longer being marketed inside the WNBA. She's being positioned above it. And Stephen A. Smith finally said what most people in basketball media have been avoiding. This isn't about a sneaker deal. This is about power. The ad dropped on Christmas Day, the exact same day Nike debuted Michael Jordan's first iconic Christmas commercial, 40 years ago. That timing wasn't accidental. Nike doesn't believe in coincidence. Every move is deliberate. The message was loud and clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just the league's next star. She's being framed as the female equivalent of Michael Jordan. And the league now has a choice. Either build around her, or get left behind. But here's the part nobody expected. The commercial didn't feature WNBA legends. No Diana Taurasi. No Cheriles Buopes. No Tribute. No passing of the torch. Just one face. One era. One future. And Nike made it clear who that future belongs to. Instead of surrounding Caitlin Clark with WNBA players, Nike placed her next to Travis Scott and the Kelsey brothers, pop culture giants, NFL royalty, and global icons. That choice said everything. Nike didn't just step outside the WNBA ecosystem. They skipped it entirely, like it wasn't even part of the equation. Stephen A. Smith called it intentional, and he's right. This wasn't careless. It was strategic. Now the real question is uncomfortable. Did Nike make a smart business move? Or did they just erase 25 years of women's basketball history in one commercial? Drop your opinion in the comments, because this conversation is about to turn nasty. And let's break down what actually aired, because nothing in this ad was random. Every frame felt like a precision strike aimed straight at the league's power structure. You've got Travis Kelce cracking jokes. Jason Kelce literally making it rain. Big energy. Big personalities. Zero WNBA presence. The message wasn't subtle. Nike wasn't selling a league. They were selling a superstar. Travis Scott is doing what Travis Scott does. Chaos. Energy. Star power. And right in the middle of it all is Caitlin Clark, casually pulling up from everywhere on the floor while the room completely loses control. Then Nike drops the line that changes everything. From anywhere. Not from the logo. Not from deep. From anywhere. That wasn't copywriting. That was positioning. Nike is telling you Caitlin Clark operates on a tier that doesn't even apply to the rest of women's basketball. And they're not hiding it. They're leaning into it. And this is where Stephen A. Smith completely unloaded. No soft language. No diplomacy. He said the jealousy around Caitlin Clark is about to explode, and that what we saw last season was only the warm-up. According to him, the real backlash is coming next, and it's going to be ugly. Now pause and really think about that. The veterans who carried this league for decades flew commercial, played in half-empty arenas, made $60,000 a year while building the foundation. They took the hits. They did the grinding. And then Caitlin Clark arrives and instantly gets the Michael Jordan treatment. Imagine how that lands. Early reports said her Nike deal was $28 million over 8 years, already the largest endorsement in WNBA history by a massive margin. But Stephen A. just revealed something wild. That number? Apparently not even close. People inside the industry are now projecting that her signature shoe line alone could generate $150 million in just 3 years. Let that sink in. One player. Shoes only. $150 million. Meanwhile, the average WNBA salary sits around $76,000 a year. And the league's max contract doesn't even reach $250,000. That gap isn't just big. It's explosive. Caitlin Clark's shoe business is on pace to out-earn entire team payrolls by itself. That's not a gap. That's a canyon. And there's no way you introduce that kind of money into a competitive locker room without consequences. You can't convince me otherwise. That kind of imbalance doesn't inspire applause. It breeds resentment. Human nature always wins. Stephen A. Smith didn't dance around it. He said what many won't. The rough fouls, the cheap shots, the cold shoulders we saw last season? That was just the preview. Because now Caitlin Clark isn't just a star. She's officially the face of Nike basketball, across all sports. And when that happens, the the bullseye gets bigger. Much bigger. Think back for a second. The Kennedy Carter hip check. Angel Reese chirping nonstop. Teammates passing her up while she stood wide open in the corner. Those moments didn't happen in a vacuum. Stephen A. connected every one of them to this exact reality. A league struggling to process what happens when one player becomes bigger than the system itself. And now that Nike has made its move, the pressure, the tension, and the backlash aren't going away. They're about to escalate. Jealousy, resentment, and a coordinated attempt to knock her down a level. To remind her she's not that special. Except Nike just shattered that narrative. Caitlin Clark is special. She's generational. And everyone who tried to minimize that now looks small, outdated, and completely misaligned with reality. Now let's talk strategy, because Nike doesn't move on emotion. They move on data. They saw the TV ratings she pulled at Iowa. They tracked the jersey sales exploding in Indianapolis. They watched arenas fill up hours before tip-off. The conclusion was obvious. This wasn't just a great player. This was a unicorn, someone who breaks through the sport itself. So Nike went all in. While the WNBA focused on spreading attention evenly, promoting parity, rotating marketing dollars across all 12 teams, Nike made a different call. They said forget the noise. Forget balance. Bet on the star. And that decision exposed a massive strategic flaw. The league tried to sell the idea of many stars. Nike looked at the numbers and said, "No, you have one superstar, and we're treating her like one." That contrast is brutal. Nike is positioning Caitlin Clark as a global icon, not just a league asset. And by doing that, they didn't just elevate her. They unintentionally highlighted how far behind the league's own thinking really is. The WNBA has been treating Caitlin Clark like she needs to earn her spot. Pay your dues first. Stephen A. Smith has been calling out this mismanagement from day one. And now, he's finally taking a victory lap, because corporate America just validated everything he's been saying. Here's the part nobody wants to discuss openly. Race factors into this. A white player from Iowa is being positioned as the savior of a league that's been built and carried by black women for 25 years. Nike's deal doesn't just endorse her. It puts the full power of their global marketing machine behind Caitlin Clark, while other established stars get comparatively minimal attention. It's fueling debates about privilege and who gets the biggest opportunities. But Stephen A. doesn't play feelings, he looks at the numbers. Caitlin Clark draws crowds. She sells jerseys. She pushes TV ratings to heights the WNBA has never seen. His point? Instead of freezing her out, players should be thanking her, because she's raising the entire salary ceiling. Better charter flights, higher quality hotels, bigger media coverage, higher salaries. The rising tide is lifting all boats, but everyone's too busy criticizing who's steering the ship to appreciate the growth. Short-sighted. Counterproductive. Now let's rewind to the Olympic snub, which looks absolutely absurd in hindsight. USA Basketball left the league's most marketable player at home, claiming she needed more experience. Meanwhile, that same athlete is now front and center in a Nike campaign bigger than the entire Olympic marketing push combined. Stephen A. called out the hypocrisy live on air. The gatekeepers tried to prove she wasn't above the system. Nike just proved they were dead wrong. And what happened next? Caitlin Clark exploded in fame, wealth, and influence. Meanwhile, the league veterans who tried to keep her in check looked like bitter relics clinging to the past. Her signature shoe drops spring 2026, and the hype is already off the charts. Remember, only a handful of WNBA players have ever gotten a signature sneaker. Breanna Stewart has one. Sabrina Ionescu has one. But Caitlin's launch? It's on a completely different level. Industry insiders aren't even comparing this to a normal WNBA release. They're comparing it to the original Air Jordan launch. Nike has already revealed the interlocking CC logo, and it's everywhere. Hoodies, billboards, social media. The brand visibility is insane, and this is just the beginning. Caitlin Clark isn't just breaking records. She's redefining what's possible in women's basketball. Here's the real kicker. When you see the Jumpman, you think Michael Jordan, not the Chicago Bulls. When you see the CC logo, Nike wants you to think Caitlin Clark, not the Indiana Fever, not the WNBA. She's becoming a brand that exists independently of the league she plays in. Stephen A. Smith has been warning about this kind of leverage for a reason. It's dangerous for the WNBA. Because right now, the league needs her far more than she needs them. That if Caitlin Clark retired tomorrow, the league's valuation would plummet overnight. It's harsh, but it's reality. The next TV rights deal? It's basically Caitlin Clark negotiations. Networks aren't paying for the league, they're paying for her. Everything else is filler. And the fact that Nike paired her with Travis Scott and the Kelsey brothers? It highlights another massive shift in how sports, entertainment, and culture collide. And the WNBA is now just along for the ride. Caitlin Clark isn't just a WNBA star. She's a crossover phenomenon. She connects with NFL fans, hip-hop fans, people who haven't watched a single quarter of WNBA basketball in their lives. This is the holy grail of marketing. For decades, the WNBA has stayed insular, focusing on its existing fan base. Caitlin just shattered that wall. That makes her untouchable. And here's the reality for next season. If any WNBA players try to rough her up or play dirty, the backlash won't just come from basketball fans. It'll come from the general public, who now see her as a mainstream superstar. Nike is sending a subtle but unmistakable message. She's Sunday Night Football level. She's not niche. She's big league. Caitlin Clark isn't just changing the league. She's changing the game entirely. Reports are coming in that Nike is prepping 5 times the inventory for Caitlin Clark's launch compared to Sabrina Ionescu's. Yes, 5 times. That's staggering. Nike isn't just betting on basketball sales. They're aiming for lifestyle dominance, like Jordans or Dunks. Imagine this. Kids rocking the Caitlin ones to school, the mall, concerts. She becomes everywhere. Once a player hits lifestyle status, they become immortal in sports culture. LeBron, Jordan, and Caitlin? She's next. So what does the WNBA do now? That's the million-dollar question. The league is in an impossible bind. Favor her too much? The locker room blows up. Ignore her? They miss out on a fortune. The balance of power and money is now completely hers. Stephen A's warning was clear. Get on board, or get left behind. We're about to witness a league trying to control a player who is financially bigger than the league itself. Stephen A. compared it to the early NBA with Michael Jordan, or the PGA Tour with Tiger Woods. The establishment always resists the anomaly. They hate it, because it exposes their limits. But here's the truth. The anomaly always wins. Nike has already made their choice. They're going all in on Caitlin Clark, the anomaly. And the WNBA? They better figure out their strategy fast. Next season is going to be explosive. The resentment? Real. The money gap? Massive. The power balance has shifted, and there's no turning back. The jealousy is real. Mix all of that tension on the court, and things are about to explode. Stephen A. Smith just confirmed what we've all been thinking. Caitlin Clark's Nike deal isn't just big, it's league-shattering big. She's already outgrown the WNBA, long before most players even realized she was a threat. If you want more deep dives on how money, power, and jealousy are shaking up sports, smash that like button and subscribe, because the next chapter of this story is going to be absolutely insane.